All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today here on the steps of the Minnesota State Capitol to discuss efforts in DC to reverse the historic 20-year mining ban on copper in the headwaters of the Boundary Waters and Voyageur National Park watershed. My name is Ingrid Lyons. I'm the executive director of Save the Boundary Waters, and I will be serving as today's MC. Today, we are so fortunate to be joined by U.S. Senator Tina Smith, as well as Ron Monson, who is the chair of the Sportsman for the Boundary Waters Board of Directors, Jason Zaborski, owner and operator of Ely Outfitting Company, as well as a member of the Boundary Waters Business Coalition. We've got Senator Steve Swatzinski, who will be joining us in a moment here, Representative Leash Kozlowski, and finally Representative Alex Falconer. Each of these folks will be making short comments, and then we will open it up for limited Q&A towards the end of the event. So with that, speakers, I ask that you get decently close to this microphone, and if anybody has any issues hearing, please give us a little whoop whoop. And so with that, it is my distinct pleasure to hand it over to U.S. Senator Tina Smith.
Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you. And thank you to this incredible group of advocates standing behind me, and especially to Ingrid and the folks at Save the Boundary Waters for being here today. So over the last few weeks, Minnesotans have been an inspiration and showed the whole country how we support our neighbors and stand strong for our rights. And we do that with peace and with dignity and with humanity. And today, I'm here to tell you that we need to do it again. And this time, it is up to us to stand strong to protect one of the great places on earth, the Boundary Waters. The Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness is 1 million perfect acres of lakes and streams and bog and forests. It is a magical place if you like to hunt or fish or canoe or hike or just be outside. The original stewards of this land, the Ojibwe people, call this place home. And they have inviolable treaty rights to hunt and fish and gather Menomen or wild rice here, rights they have maintained even as they gave up this land to the federal government. This place ranks with the Grand Canyon and Zion and Denali and Yellowstone as one of our most beautiful and sacred public lands, and it belongs to us. And so many Minnesotans have stories to tell about spending time here. 150,000 people visit the Boundary Waters every year. This place for outfitters and guides and small businesses, it is the thing that they rely on because people come to hunt and canoe and fish. Outdoor recreation is an economic driver in northern Minnesota. This is how people support their families and their communities. And I'm here to tell you that protecting the Boundary Waters is not a partisan issue. It is an American issue. Protecting this place for all of us is widely supported by a strong majority of Minnesotans, regardless of their party. In fact, a bipartisan coalition has worked for years to stop dangerous copper sulfide mining in the watershed in the headwaters of the BWCA. But today, this is all at risk, again. Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress, led by Congressman Pete Stauber, are trying to ram through legislation that would allow a foreign mining company to develop a copper sulfide mine on the edge of the Boundary Waters. This legislation would undo years of public input. It would override reams of nonpartisan scientific study and facts. And all of this tells us that this mine in this place is too great a risk to the Boundary Waters. So let me be clear. Minnesotans, we understand mining. Minnesota is the place where upwards of 80% of the iron ore, taconite, is produced in this country. We appreciate that mining is crucial to our economy and our national security and our way of life. But that is not what this mine is about. This mine is about a very well-connected foreign mining conglomerate, Antofagasta. It wants to develop this mine, dig up the copper, leave us with the mess, then send the metal most likely to China, and then sell it back to us or whoever is willing to pay the highest price. And the biggest beneficiaries of this mine will be the investors of Antofagasta, not Minnesota and not the United States. So Next week, the United States Senate is likely to vote on revoking a 20-year moratorium on copper sulfide mining, paving the way for Antofagasta to start exploiting northern Minnesota. Even though the scientists say it is too dangerous, even though most Minnesotans are opposed, even though Minnesota's tribes in Minnesota and around the country are opposed, even though hunting and fishing and outdoor groups like those you'll hear from today say that this is a huge mistake. Heck, even the descendants of Teddy Roosevelt have come together and signed a letter saying that this is the wrong move to make. So there's one last thing I want you to pay attention to before I wrap up. We are a nation of laws, and the protections that we have put in place for the boundary waters, like all public lands, they were done by the book, following the orders laid out in something called the Federal Land Policy and Management Act. And this is important because what's happening right now is that Congressman Stauber and Republicans are using an unprecedented tool, a never before used gambit, and claiming that Congress can claw back the protections for these public lands, our lands, without any of the normal procedures and processes. And if this effort is successful, we all need to understand big corporations and their friends in Congress will be watching this and will be looking for where they can next go to exploit our public lands for their profit and our loss. So we're here today to say, not this mine in this place. The risks are too high. These are our public lands, our resources, and we're going to fight with everything that we have to stop rolling back the protections on our precious boundary waters. And now, I'm happy to turn this over to the National Board Chair of the Sportsman for the Boundary Waters, Ron Munson.
Thank you. Thank you so
Your hands
much.
are warmer than mine.
I just had them in my pocket. Thank you to Senator Smith. Your leadership in this effort is unparalleled. You're deeply appreciated. My name is Ron Munson. I serve as the National Board Chair for Sportsmen and Sportswomen for the Boundary Waters, and it's an honor to be here with you today. Sportsmen and sportswomen are among the most powerful conservationists in our nation. We engage in stewardship and conservation-minded actions all the time. We spend billions of dollars that go toward conservation efforts as funneled through states and federal officials. We care for wilderness based upon its inherent value. Wilderness in the U.S. is among our greatest legacies. And as Senator Smith already mentioned, Teddy Roosevelt helped us understand that way back. And he said, quote, "Wildlife and its habitat cannot speak for itself." Follow along. "So we must and we will," end quote. You know, SFBW is among 20 leading national organizations representing anglers and hunters across the nation. And together with all of them, we sent a letter to Congress specifically opposing Resolution 140. The Boundary Waters offers unparalleled opportunities for fishing, hunting, camping, paddling, all kinds of things. It's a haven for hunters and anglers. They come from all across the nation to fish for smallmouth bass, walleye, northern pike, and this country's largest population of lake trout. We also go up there for grouse, black bear, white-tailed deer. It's unparalleled. The potential loss of these recreational opportunities is a stark reminder that the stakes involved in this resolution are far too high to take lightly. Removing the existing state safeguards by passing this resolution, first of all, would ignore the voices of the overwhelming majority of American sporting community. It prioritizes the income and the profits of a foreign mining company, and it sets a dangerous precedent for similar projects all across our nation. Can't have it. As hunters and anglers and outdoor enthusiasts, it's important that we rely on places like the Boundary Waters, and we find this legislation extremely troubling. We're not done yet. Hunters, anglers, we will collectively keep fighting. This is about clean water, healthy wildlife, and landscapes and our outdoor heritage. We respectfully request that officials continue to push back against and vote against this resolution. As one of my fellow board members states quite clearly, Mark Kenyon, quote, when our children asked what I did when the people came for the Boundary Waters, I'd better have a damned good answer.
That's right.
Close quote. So not this mine, not this place. Thank you for being here and paying attention to this matter. Now we want to welcome Jason Zaborski.
Thank you for speaking my language. Good morning. I'm Jason Zaborski, and I own and operate Ely Outfitting Company in downtown Ely on the edge of the Boundary Waters. And I'm a member of the Boundary Waters Business Coalition. As a Boundary Waters canoe trip outfitter, I see the importance of the BWCAW through the eyes of our clients. They travel from throughout Minnesota and every corner of this country. I see firsthand their excitement as they launch a wilderness adventure, and I see how this extraordinarily special place moves people, connects people more deeply with those they travel with, allows people to reconnect with timeless traditions in a vast, unspoiled, and inspiring wild place. The Boundary Waters is a place worth protecting. I also see the Boundary Waters through the eyes of a business owner. The Boundary Waters is an economic engine that sustains wilderness edge communities and businesses like mine. The Boundary Waters is a key part of the outdoor recreation economy of northeastern Minnesota that supports 17,000 jobs and generates over $900 million in revenue each year. All of this is threatened by risky sulfide ore copper mining. This proposed mining would destroy the heart of one of our state's, our country's greatest natural treasures. And it would mean fewer jobs and less income for the people of northeastern Minnesota. In short, it's a bad deal for Minnesotans. Therefore, I urge protecting the Boundary Waters and protecting our wilderness edge economies and communities, and voting no on rolling back protections for our beloved Boundary Waters. Now I'll turn it over to State Senator Steve Swazinski.
Chivalry's not dead. Hi everybody, thanks for being here. 250 years ago, Thomas Paine said these are the times that try men's souls. And he was talking about a totally different event rather than this, but I was so grateful to see Teddy Roosevelt's great-grandson yesterday come out in support of all the work that we're trying to do. Teddy Roosevelt, I think, would be literally turning over in his wait, I guess you can't turn over in your grave if you're alive. If he was alive today, he wouldn't be turning over in his grave. But I think he would be shocked at the role reversal of the federal government. That the federal government under Teddy Roosevelt and Ulysses Simpson Grant felt like the one of the roles of the federal government was to preserve national treasures and preserve crown jewels and preserve wilderness for the generations to follow. And I think the current government has abdicated on that responsibility created by those two great Republican leaders. And so when the federal government has abdicated this responsibility, it's the role of the states to step up and say, we've got to recover this treasure. We've got to protect it. We've got to dig our feet and heels into the ground and do the right thing for our descendants and our ancestors. My wife and I have not, wait, I take that back. I have missed 2 years since 1979. There's probably not one person in this crowd of thousands of you, cameras can't lie, that has probably spent more time in the Boundary Waters than I. I missed 2 years, again, since 1979. I'll never forget oh, yeah, no, he can't beat me, but maybe he can. My house colleague. In 1982, my wife and I, my girlfriend and I were canoeing up in the Boundary Waters, and we're listening to loons off in the distance and beavers swimming alongside of us. And she loves telling the story. She turned around and looked at her boyfriend in the back of the canoe amongst the solitude and serenity and spirit of the Boundary Waters. And she looked at me and said, "This is the man I'm going to spend the rest of my life with." I'm not sure if she's regretted that since then, but I love that story. Henry David Thoreau, people used to say to him, "What are you doing out there? What are you doing outside the environment of Concord, out at that Walden place?" And his response was, "I came there so that when I came to die, I discovered I had not lived." That is what the Boundary Waters is to me, and that is what I'll be digging my heels on along with all of us, to preserve that for our that wonderful place so many of us call the crown jewel of Minnesota. Thanks for being here and covering this.
Next will be Representative Leash Kozlowski.
All right. Well, bonjour, everybody. Ozawa Anaquad, Magazine and Daudam, Masabi Khan and Dun Jaba. I use they, them pronouns. My Ojibwe name is Yellow Cloud. I am from the Grand Portage and Fond du Lac reservations. I represent 8 beautiful Duluth, which is Masabi Kong, the place of the giants. I'm also want to acknowledge my Native Caucus members here in our newest elected, Shelley Buck. Heather Keeler, that's right. Senator Mary Kunish is around somewhere, always fighting for the water. I am grateful to be here with community, with our fierce Senator Smith, who has stood up strong. Recently, myself and Rep. Keeler and others got to go to D.C. and fight for our waters and our lands. We met with Senator Smith and Representative Betty McCollum, lawmakers from Nevada to New York. Everybody knew the Boundary Waters and had been there. We also met with the Federal Indian Affairs Committee in ensuring that our treaties are upheld and protected. We are all here at the Capitol and across the state and country with a lot of reasons to love the Boundary Waters. And I'm here because I'm here for a Boundary Waters for all. For me, I am my people and my people are me. We belong to these homelands, as Senator Smith so beautifully talked about, the waters of Turtle Island from now United States and Canada. We didn't cross these borders, they crossed us. For thousands of years, we've navigated these interconnected lakes and rivers, the treaties serving as the supreme law of the land. And let me remind you, they are not negotiable. Treaties are a grant of rights. They are a grant of rights not to the Indians, but by them. And today, millions paddle to fish, hunt, hike, dog sled, and prey. And this is one of the most visited areas in all of the country. It belongs to the public, not to greedy foreign mining corporations. And right now, authoritarian politicians like Pete Stauber, who I will tell you does not represent the true wishes of the people. He won't even meet with us, in fact. Are working in the shadows to undo hard-won protections and open these headwaters, these sacred places, to greedy corporations. But they may be the money, but we are the many who know the science is clear. The watershed is vast, pristine, and interconnected. Pollution doesn't just stay put, it flows, it bioaccumulates. And it's not a question of if, but when it will irreversibly damage and pollute. We know health is wealth. Sulfide mining threatens fish. It threatens humans, especially pregnant people, with mercury, endangers the goodberry, our Monoman wild rice. It risks clean water for generations. And as we've heard, it is our competitive advantage, supporting much revenue and thousands of jobs across the state. And I'll tell you, I agree. What a bleepity bad deal. Nearly 70% of Minnesotans aren't falling for it across party lines. We want a permanent ban on copper mining in these waters. This is practical, it's popular, and it protects treaty rights. And it uplifts our next 7 generations. Interestingly, my people 7 generations ago traveled by canoe, by train, by every means possible to get to DC to fight for the treaties, to ensure that we have this for future generations. And never envisioned that we would be removed or severed from these lands. And they said that if we take care of the wild rice, if we take care of the swimmers, of the four-leggeds, of the plant medicines, that they will also take care of us. And so we've traveled 7 generations ago. For the past 50 years, we have been working hand in glove with our tribes, with our communities, to preserve this for our generations. And we can do it again, but it's going to take all of us from Washington, D.C. to here at the state legislature to make sure that we're fighting back and standing up. So we will protect the boundary waters forever, Goggy Gay. Thank you.
And our final speaker is Representative Alex Falconer.
All right, adjust the mic. You don't have to come up here for me. Well, thank you all for coming out. I couldn't imagine anything more Minnesotan than standing in the snow and talking about the boundary waters. This is a place of just deep personal connection to people across the state and across this country. As Senator Smith said, 150,000 people go every single year, and it's not by mistake. This is just one of these most special places that needs to be protected forever. And it's Minnesota's way of life, and it just really is, from ancestral tribal homelands to today, where camps, church groups, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, I mean, you name it, people are coming from across the country to visit this place, to experience the quiet, the serenity, the peace, the calm, and to just get that respite, that break from modern life. That is just so rare and so unique and so special right now. This past weekend, I was up there myself on the North Quishway River. I needed the peace and the quiet. You know, Minnesota's had a hot couple months here, and places like this, the impacts of what this can mean for myself, and I'm just one of hundreds of thousands as I come back now to the Capitol, entering whatever maelstrom we're walking head straight into. I know that I'll be a better servant to my constituents and the people of Minnesota because of the boundary waters. And I'm just, like I said, one of hundreds of thousands of people. Minnesota needs the boundary waters. We just do. Minnesotans need the boundary waters. Jason Zaborski's business needs the boundary waters. He's served people from every single state in this country that have come to his shop, spent their money in our state. It drives our economy. It far eclipses anything that could replace this special place in the form of mining. The businesses like Jason's, like Wintergreen, that Senator Smith is proudly repping in her coat here, are just a couple of the small examples of the business culture that has built up around the wilderness and is not compatible with a massive sulfide or copper mine polluting the water, polluting the air, creating light and noise pollution, and violating the tribal rights, as Representative Kozlowski so wonderfully put, and the guarantees that their people have to these lands. Not just only does Minnesotans need this, and that is reflected by the polling. I mean, 70% of Minnesotans want this to be permanently protected. I've got my bill that would do that. Senator Smith has her bill, and Senator Swedzinski is the author on the Senate side. You know, we want to protect this forever. This is our crown jewel. This is what we're here trying to fight for. And America needs the boundary waters. This is the most visited wilderness in the entire wilderness preservation system for good reason. Like, people from all across the country, people from across the world are coming here, spending their money here, having the experiences, and we want them to continue doing so. So what Minnesota does not need is this mine in this place. We do not need this ore to be extracted and this area to be exploited at the expense of our boundary waters. The only people that it does make sense for is one very rich billionaire family in Chile, or if you're a Chinese smelter that's going to accept the mining concentrates and then stockpile them and sell them back to us probably on some arbitrarily tariffed rate. There is no national security impetus here. This is the destruction of our public lands. It belongs to us. It belongs to you. It belongs to everybody standing behind me, everybody across Minnesota, just as much as it does the people of northern Minnesota. And so thank you for coming here today. Thank you for all the support from everybody standing behind us. We're not going to give up. We are going to protect this place for all generations to come. Thank you.
And now we'll open it up briefly for any questions folks have for the speakers today.
Can I ask Senator Smith? I'm Chloe Johnson of the Star Tribune.
Hi.
How are you feeling about this vote next week? Do you have a sense of which way the chamber's going to go?
We're working really, really hard on this, and I think it's up for grabs. I think it depends a lot on the advocacy that's going to happen across the country, reaching out to, we only need 4 Republicans to join with the Democrats to keep in place this protection, which is broadly popular. So I'm going to be doing everything I possibly can and working with a lot of colleagues to stop this from going forward, but and it's totally within our reach to stop this. We just have to marshal 4 Republicans to vote with us.
Representative Falconer, your legislation was unsuccessful at the state level last year. What makes you think it would be successful this year?
Just that we're continuously working on this. I mean, people are speaking up. My constituents know where I'm at on it, but even so, it's one of the top issues I hear about consistently. People writing in, you have to protect the boundary waters. And I really think that if this body in this building can listen to the will of the people, that the will should be done. 70% want this. That crosses all political lines. It's a majority in Representative Stauber's district, who's chiefly working against the boundary waters, want this place to be protected too. So we're just gonna keep working on support and everything that we can do.
Thank you all so much again for coming. As our speakers indicated, we are facing tremendous threats at the federal level for the boundary waters. The state has a very important role to play. We are a critical backstop, and so we are so grateful to the representatives, the senators, the supporters, and the Minnesotans who have raised their voice and spoken loudly for this quiet place over the course of not only the past few weeks, but the past years, and I have no doubt they'll continue to do that. So thank you all very much, and have a wonderful and safe trip home.
Thank you.